there was so much stress, tears, cries, and even just tension with Matt and I. I know it's a hot topic, lots of opinions. Focus on your kids. Stop worrying about everyone else's kids. Baby number 2. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Nikole. If you're new here, I'm a mom of a now almost going to be 2 years old. What the heck? I'm not ready for it. I'm currently planning her birthday party and feeling all the emotions. In celebration, I thought it'd be fun to film a video of 10 things I would not do as a new mom. And by no means am I saying I am the expert of parenting. I'm just learning as I go, sharing my journey with you guys online here and receiving all of the lovely feedback. I mean, sharing anything online, you're gonna get like positive and negative feedback. Parenthood has been a very interesting topic online and there's a lot of controversy. Everyone does it differently and that's okay. So if you're doing one of these things that I'm like maybe not agreeing with, it doesn't mean you're a bad parent and that's totally fine. That is your style and it actually ties into one of my points. If you aren't subscribed, click the button down below. If you have not watched, I did way back I think it was like 15 things I wish I knew before becoming a mom. I'll link it here. This is kind of like the sequel to it, I guess, but we're gonna be talking about things that now that I am a mom, I would not do for baby number 2. Also, side note, if you guys do not have a copy of the Baby HealthNut cookbook yet, it is a digital cookbook of all the recipes I started feeding my daughter Sage from 6 months and up. There are a ton of toddler-friendly recipes in there. I'm currently working on book number 2. I will have a link for it down below. Thousands of parents have already purchased a copy and their families are enjoying the meals every single week. So I really appreciate all the amazing support I've gotten so far and I just want to say thank you. Forcing pacifiers or bottles. Everyone has a different name for both of those things. And when we first had Sage, we were in the mind frame of she needs to have a pacifier and be able to have boob and bottle. I was luckily able to breastfeed, so I wanted to be able to do that, but also be able to step away and have the best of both worlds. And the reality was that Sage just did not like artificial nipples, like at all. I had them on my registry. I had bought a bunch of like super cute, chic, trendy pacifiers. And I was like, these are so cute. Like this one's gonna match this outfit. She did not want any of them. I would try all the time to put one in her mouth and she was just like spitting it out, not having it. Same thing with bottles. I feel like there was so much stress, tears, cries, and even just tension with Matt and I because he would try to do the bottle and she would just get so upset and then I would be like, no, okay, like don't do it. But then he's like, I'm trying to get her to get on it so like you can have a break. And it just caused a lot of like unnecessary stress. And yes, like it would have been great if she was able to do the bottle, but I feel like it took us a while to just come to terms with the fact that she does not like artificial nipples, and that's okay. Obviously, this is gonna be different for parents that can only bottle feed, then that's the only way. But if your baby gets the boob and the bottle and you're able to do exclusively breastfeeding, I think it's totally okay to do that. I mean, we've been going now 2 years, I'm still breastfeeding her, and we only did the bottle for a short period of time that she let us, and then she was like, no, I don't want it. If you're stressing out about it because you're worried about you're never gonna sleep or anything, there are other ways to get your baby to sleep throughout the night, and it doesn't need to mean like another parent up all night with a bottle. And honestly, the plus side is you don't have to wean them off of it later. If a pacifier falls out of the mouth in the middle of the night, they're not gonna cry because it's like they can't find it and put it back in. These are things that I didn't have to deal with. So even though I'm sure in some situations it's nice to just pop in a pacifier to calm a crying baby, we didn't get that option, so I don't really know any other way. But I'm just saying, like, if your baby isn't into it, you know, and you are able to breastfeed, I wouldn't worry so much. I feel like it caused a lot of unnecessary stress. Okay, this next one, hot topic, it's piercing ears. I would not pierce my baby's ears for a couple of reasons. I mean, you are physically putting holes in their body at a young age, assuming that they want to wear earrings when they're older. Maybe by the time they're older, earrings aren't even a thing. I remember I had my nose pierced, my belly button pierced. I don't wear them now. If my parents had made that decision when I was a newborn, I'd be like, Mom, why is there a hole in my belly button? I wish I didn't get that because now I have a weird wrinkly hole there. I think it's one of those things that she can decide later in life. An ear piercing is not that painful that you need to be like, oh, I gotta do it while they're young so they don't feel the pain. Like, it's a 2-second thing. That being said, fun story, I remember my mom taking me to get my ears pierced. I don't know if I was like 12 or something. And I was so scared by like the noise of the gun. I don't even think it hurt that much, but the noise of the gun, I was like, no, 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 no. And I went home with one earring, and then somehow my mom talked me into getting the other one pierced. But I was at an age that I could make that decision. It's just something we're deciding not to do. There's a risk of infection. There's a risk of it getting caught on fabric, maybe getting yanked out, something else to clean. Like, no, thank you. If she wants to pierce her ears later in life, like I will take her. Once she is old enough to say, Mommy, Daddy, I want to get my ears pierced, I will take her. That's totally fine. But I think with something that's like putting a hole or like changing their body in some way, that they should have the decision to do it. I know it's a hot topic, lots of opinions, and if you pierce your little girl's ears, that's totally fine. That's your decision. It's just not mine. Screen time, another hot topic. I am not against screen time, but one thing that I really don't do with Sage is let her hold my phone. And even when she was a baby and I'd be breastfeeding or just having her on me, maybe she was facing away and I'm on my phone, I never liked the screen really close to her. I'd be fine if the TV was on, but just having that screen so close to her or always around her or letting her hold it. Even now as a toddler, Sage is not allowed to hold her phones. And honestly, she'll like pick up my phone and then hand it to me. She has no desire to like go on it and play games or try just to like flip through it. You know, she loves her Disney movies and, you know, Miss Rachel on YouTube, which is a new one we've discovered, but she is not like, I need to hold your phone all the time, which it's nice because I can have my phone around and it's not like she's always, it's just a battle we don't have to worry about. Like I said, not against screen time. I like to limit it and create boundaries around it, but also just not get in the habit of them always holding the phone, because I think it's just like setting them up for just being addicted to the phone way early on. There is a thing as being too clean. So one thing that I started doing with Sage very early on, even like the day she came out of my body, was not over bathing her. Even at the hospital, I had asked the nurse who was giving her a bath not to use any soap. And I know like I probably got a weird reaction from her. It was like, you don't want to use soap on your baby. There's lots of reasons why I decided not to use soap on Sage right away. I think she only had soap maybe after a week of coming home. It didn't mean that she didn't get baths and wasn't clean. It just meant I didn't use like actual soap to wash her down, and just helped keep that skin pH balance and that good bacteria on her skin. I just thought that was an extra protection for her immune system. And like, honestly, I probably only give Sage 2 baths a week. We have not incorporated bath time as like her nightly routine. I didn't want her to get used to having a bath every single night. It can be very irritating and drying on their skin, cause itchiness and redness. And like both my niece and nephew deal with eczema. And one of the #1 things my sister always says is like, do not overbathe them, because it just makes their skin really dry. And, you know, soap is stripping of the skin's natural oils and stuff. So unless, you know, now that Sage is a toddler, like sometimes we have to do 3 times a week if she got into something. But honestly, for the most part, she's pretty clean. Like even with her eating, like she wears a bib. And if we're outside in nature, like it's not really that dirty. We wash our hands. To be honest, I don't overbathe her, and her skin, you know, it's hard to say like, oh, it's because of the bathing, because you really don't know. Like a child can have eczema or skin irritations, and it could be from other outside factors. I listened to a really good podcast. I've mentioned this before, but it was this woman talking about the idea of eat clean, live dirty, and that our society is just way too clean and we're just always stripping our skin. Yes, I have a dirty rugrat. No, I'm kidding. She's clean, she smells great, but she don't need a bath every night. Another thing that I would not do is using products like hygiene products that have harsh chemicals and fragrances on a baby's delicate skin. Yes, a lot of the more natural, clean ones can be a little bit pricey, but there are so many options now on the market that you can find more budget-friendly ones. And honestly, in the beginning, we just used unscented castile soap, like the Dr. Bronner's one, and coconut oil for like a bum cream and stuff and a moisturizer. That's all we used. And then later on, we found like a natural bum cream and moisturizers and stuff. But you know, you don't have to go for the super fancy, cute bottle ones. You can use really simple products. It don't have to be like these fancy, cute bottles that are like $30 a bottle, but a little bit goes a long way. I often find the natural sunscreens and the natural products, like less is more, and you don't need as much because it's made with better ingredients. Things like petroleum and baby powder have awful ingredients in them. Also, a lot of the baby washes and shampoos out there have so much fragrance in them. Like babies don't smell. Like unless they had a big poopy diaper, they do not smell. They smell beautiful and they don't need perfume on their bodies. If anything, that's for us and could be irritating their skin. I don't know, giving them headaches. Like perfume gives me a headache. I can't imagine putting it on a little baby. And I honestly find a lot of parents just don't think about it or don't know. They're just buying these products that are targeted for babies, but turn the bottles around, look at the labels. If they have fragrance or perfumes in them, it can mean a ton of nasty chemicals that you don't want to put on their skin. I will not buy clothes too far in advance. I have burned myself so many times. You think, oh, there's a big sale happening, I'm gonna stock up. You do not know exactly what size your child is gonna be 6 months from now. You may think at 2 years old, they're gonna be wearing 2T, but they might be 3T, or they may not even be there yet, and that's okay. But if you are buying way ahead of time, you might be buying a bunch of winter clothes to wear during winter, but by the time they fit in them, it's actually spring. And then now you're like, oh, I'm not even getting full use out of these clothes. So that is something I learned the hard way, or I would buy a lot of something that didn't really work with us, like onesies with buttons. Oh my goodness, never. Also pants with footies past a certain age. I realized that it ended up being a tripping hazard once Sage could walk. So I would then look for footless pajamas and onesies. Also finding out like, oh, Sage doesn't really care for denim. She has a denim jacket that she won't wear anymore. She has one pair of jeans that sometimes lets me put on her. There's just like she has preferences with her clothes, and as they get older, they will tend to like one thing over the other. You know, right now she likes comfy basics, and I totally get her on that. Even dresses, like we don't even wear that many dresses. It's just like not practical. Like I will buy certain dresses for special occasions and that's it. So, you know, just be mindful if you're overbuying because you think you're gonna save money, it might actually cost you more in the long run because you're gonna not use those products and then it goes to waste and you're gonna have to buy other ones. So same thing with shoes. Don't overbuy the shoes. Get like 2 or 3 pairs that you rotate between and then like buy as you go. It's fine. There will be more sales, I promise. I will never compare my child to someone else's. Just because 2 kids are the same age does not mean they should be doing the exact same thing. There can be such a discrepancy depending on, was your child 2 weeks early, 2 weeks late? Are they just on different journeys? Probably, and that's okay. Sage was a late walker, but not really. Walking can happen, the usual time I think is from 1 year to about 18 months. And I think she started walking maybe at 16 months. And I got so many comments from parents saying, she's not walking yet. Are you concerned? Are you worried? What can you do to help her? She was such a good crawler that I knew, like she'll walk when she needs to walk, but like she's getting around really fast on her all fours. So I get why she's not walking yet. But it's just like a bad cycle to get into, whether it's rolling, sitting, standing, walking, talking, you know, eventually they will learn and they will be on their own path and journey. And by no means, if your baby is like taking a little bit longer than someone else's, that they're less smart or not performing or hitting their milestones. That's why there's ranges, and that's just like the common range. You know, if you really have a concern, then you can talk to a professional, but I wouldn't tell yourself that you're behind because Susie's kids over here are like running and talking. If anything, you know, just enjoy the peace and quiet until they do learn to talk. Okay, this is a big one for me, and it is kissing babies' faces. I will never let anybody kiss my baby's face. Even now that Sage is 2, like if I saw it, I would still be like, no, not on the face. For many reasons, especially when babies are newborns, so many things can be transferred from saliva, and even things like cold sores and stuff you really want to be careful of. And there's really no need, you know, unless the kisses are coming from mom and dad, which you still want to be mindful if you're sick or you have a cold sore, obviously, but you know, I can't help myself. I gotta kiss my own baby. Even like grandparents or whatever kiss your baby, I just think absolutely not. I will let like, you know, a kiss like cheek to cheek, cuddle, kiss on top of the head. I know it's so hard for them to like hold themselves back, but I just think like that's just always been a no-no for me, and I will definitely be doing that with any future babies. It's definitely awkward when you're like, don't kiss my baby. I know, but I just want to be extra cautious. Judging other parents. Like, honestly, we need to stop. And before I became a parent, I was also doing this. I'd be like, oh, when I have kids, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. Like, it's going to be this perfect situation. But really, unless you're a parent, you have no right to give any input on how someone else should parent and raise their kids. And then as long as they're obviously like being safe and stuff. And then when you do become a parent, like focus on your kids. Stop worrying about everyone else's kids. You know, no one loves your kids more than you, and you know what's best for your kids. And I'm sure that parent that you are judging down the road also knows what's best for their kids. And like, yeah, some parents have their kids up really, really late, and maybe that's their style and they're okay with that. I want Sage in bed so I can have a couple of hours to myself at the end of the night, and that's okay. So we implemented like sleep training and just creating a routine. But like, my sister has 3 kids and her kids have no sleep routine, but you know what? They're all really smart kids. They get their sleep, and her youngest can like literally fall asleep wherever. So she's never really had to be really strict on naps and stuff. If Sage don't get her nap, it's like hell broke loose. So we got to stick on schedule. And also, like, I work from home, I run a business, like I need to know when Sage is going to nap so I can book my meetings and just schedule my life. And that's what works for us. In all aspects of life, stay in your lane and stop trying to control and judge others. It's not needed. Not receiving help. I think this is a really important one, because as new parents, you just want to figure it out all by yourself, feel like I don't need help, I got this. Otherwise you might feel like a bad parent. But receiving help from others is so important. It can be really dangerous if you get to that breaking point where you are so overly exhausted that now it's like a danger to your child, because you just reached that breaking point that maybe you're not sleeping, maybe baby is colicky or going through a sleep regression, and you just feel like I haven't even showered in 3 days. You know, I know not everyone has a partner or a supportive partner, but ask a friend, a family member, or, you know, just talk to someone, make sure you're getting that help. I think it's just really easy to kind of stay within your own bubble. And as a new parent, I mean, I will take all of the home cooked meals dropped off, or someone coming over and say, hey, I will watch baby while you go take a nap. Like, that goes such a long way. And I think it's important for parents to learn how to accept that help. Okay, those are all the things I could think of right now for things I wouldn't do as a new mom. But like I said, no judgment. I mean, you do you. And I'm curious, what are your thoughts on some of the things I mentioned? I've been talking about parenting for a couple years now, so I know there are lots of different opinions, whether it's breastfeeding, how you do sleeping in your household, food, all the things. You do you, and I respect and support that. And I'm just sharing my own journey to hopefully help and inspire others, and just help others not feel so lonely, because like it can be a lonely time and very intimidating and scary time. But hopefully this video helped maybe just bring some light to different topics maybe you didn't even think about. And a reminder, if you have not checked out the Baby Health Nut Cookbook yet, I'm gonna link it down below. It has over 30 recipes to feed your babies and toddlers. These are all the recipes I started feeding our daughter from 6 months and up, and she is now almost 2, and we are still cooking out of this book. The whole family will love it, and it is a great way to help create an adventurous eater. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.